And welcome back to the Infowars Money Bomb 2015. I'm your host, Joe Biggs, and boy, do I have to say I'm super pumped. I'm so motivated, it's not even funny. I mean, I can't even explain how excited I am to be here, Roger. I was walking through, and people were talking about, I'm starting to get tired, and I was like, you know what? If you're going to crash through the lies and disinformation. That's something I was saying to everybody earlier. It might be corny, but I thought it was funny. Charo from Arkansas donated $1,000 just now. Hello. Thank you for your support. We really need that here. Now I have coming up my next guest, Ryan Smith of Armed Citizens United and Head Down Products. Now, Head Down, these are the guys who donated this rifle for us for the raffle. So anybody who spends over $1,000 or more gets added into this basically a hat, and tomorrow we will pick it up. We'll find out, we'll draw a name, and we'll find out who gets this. I'll have to send this back to Head Down, and then they'll have to go through the process of getting out to you guys. Also, on top of that, will be a Georgia Optics site. Hey, Ryan, are you there?
I'm here, brother.
What is going on, my friend? How you doing, brother?
Staying with it, man. Trying to keep up with you guys.
Hey, man, you got to get motivated if you're going to be in the Info War. Roger, that's what we do.
Hey, you know what? When you told me that you're going to have me on, I wanted to take advantage. I was like, hey, for all the people out there watching that are going to see this too, this guy is an animal. Joe Biggs is an absolute animal. He took us all over Austin, treated us right. We were guests, and after a little bit of drinking, a little bit of riding around, McBreen was there. You guys are right back at it, working hard immediately after. You guys do it right, and you work real hard, you play hard. I just wanted to tell all the folks that it's an amazing platform you guys got over there.
Yeah, pretty much when I sweat, it's motivation. You could bottle it up and put it into a Red Bull drink or an energy drink and add some vodka and have one hell of a time. Now, you are a representative, I guess that would be the proper term, for Armed Citizens United, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so a lot of people don't know what that is. Can you tell us? We have the website pulled up right now for our viewers to see. Armed Citizens United, true advocates of the Second Amendment. Now, tell us about what it is they do so our listeners can find out a way to get involved.
Sure. One of the things that I noticed since I got into this industry, I got into this industry only a few years ago, and I could see coming from, the media side that there was a lot of issues with, how the gun, how the Second Amendment, just defending yourself, how it was kind of spun almost consistently on a negative basis with most of the programming that especially younger people digest, whether that be, the new blockbuster movies or whatever, video games sometimes, all kinds of things, the curriculum at school. There's just that constant attack on it. And, we've got some great gun lobbies out there and some great people doing some things that some of the, the obvious names that we all know about. Larry Pratt and Gun Owners of America is just amazing. I know Larry, and I've, done a lot of stuff, next to him.
So when a situation like a Charleston shooting or the shooting that happened in Virginia, or the many other ones that happened, which are really small in the big picture, they call you the main. Do what?
I'm sorry, I just got a bunch of static over here. I didn't hear anything you just said.
I said when a lot of these shooting instances happen, like in Charleston. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now.
The mainstream media will reach out to you guys, right, for a quote. So tell me what happens with a lot of that stuff.
Just recently we had CNN reach out about one of the incidents. Actually, it was a South Carolina shooting. And as soon as they found out that we were kind of a young, diverse group that kind of went after the PR and media side of it.
And that you're black?
I'm mixed. And
yeah.
I kind of like to bring that out, at the right time, because, it's funny. I can actually bait them into kind of leaning towards, oh, you guys are just another Second Amendment gun-toting white group, a bunch of Republicans. They try and compartmentalize or box us into, this stereotype. And really, as soon as they found out that we were diverse, I was mixed, we're kind of young and active in the digital space as well. They didn't want to quote anymore, and they brought somebody else in the room kind of abruptly to hear and reiterate the conversation. It was interesting. So there's just that constant attack on the media spins and all these other Hollywood movies. It's really disgusting. So that's what we're doing different. That's what Armed Citizens United is about. We're going to do a lot of the other stuff too, but we really want to focus on the media and how things are spun that way, and we want to win the hearts and minds, so it's a lot easier to win the fight, in the halls of Congress.
All right, so before we talk about head down rifles, tell people how they can get involved with the Armed Citizens United ACU. And here's the patch, the one that you gave me when you came down here to Austin.
Yeah.
Tell us what people have to do.
Just go to the website. It's the easiest thing. Read some of the stuff that we put out. We're a young group. We're new. We we have gotten into some amazing stuff already, and it's also been tough. I mean, this is a huge task to take on. The NRA does a good job, but they can't handle everything. Gun Owners of America does a great job. They can't handle everything. And, I think it takes some people that are young and active in the space as well as outside of the space and kind of coming together and making some things happen. So armedcitizensunited.com and, check it out and then just sign up and join. And it's really simple.
So you're trying to target mainly a younger audience, I would say, some of the newer up-and-coming people who are maybe not quite as informed about the Second Amendment and kind of get them involved?
Absolutely. We own YoungGunsTV.com, which is it's kind of a media platform where we just wanted some people that were pro-gun that put out great videos, guys like you're going to have on, like Schwell and Kevin later on. They can put their content, their videos, their gun stuff on that website, and it's protected. You're never going to have to worry about, being censored or, there's some anti-gun stuff coming out, so we don't want to support what you're doing. That kind of stuff is not going to happen on Young Guns. So we launched that, and we encourage people, hey, throw us your gun videos, show us what you're doing, what you got. Hey, let's, we can all learn a lot. We're educating ourselves all the time about the industry, and it's a good way to participate.
Well, I noticed you had a gun behind you right now. Has that thing actually accidentally gone off and started killing people? I'm curious. Because every time I turn on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, these crazy, scary guns, they just start killing people.
I'm not sure, but just a second ago, I was looking in the little Skype screen here, and I was like, is it going to turn and shoot me? Let's see. Wait a second now. That's amazing. This is loaded, Biggs, and it hasn't killed me. It's amazing.
That's amazing. I mean, the amount of restraint that weapon has to sit back, because when so many other weapons out there, just like my Glock 19 Gen 3 Zev Custom, it just hasn't shot or killed me yet or anyone else. I'm sitting here. It hasn't loaded a magazine into itself. Actually, what it would take would be a person with ill will or intent to actually do that, and that's what we have to remember at the end of the day. That's what it comes down to. Now let's go ahead and segue over to head down rifles. Now, you and Infowars have kind of been in the works for a long time to get this relationship going. And it's been a few months now. As far as I'm concerned, it's been fantastic. You guys helped build the Alex Jones custom rifle. So tell us about that a little bit. Can you hear me?
No.
So we're showing B-roll right now of the Alex Jones rifle. You guys put that together. How has business been since you've been with Infowars?
It's been amazing. I couldn't say enough about it. One of those things where, we worked on this scenario. There we go. We worked on this scenario, and big, all my appreciation to the crew that does all the stuff behind the scenes. By the way, Tim, Weldon, those guys are just amazing. Honestly, we worked on this deal nearly a year before we were able to put it together and make it the right deal. And it's just an amazing scenario. When I first met the guys at Head Down, Lee Queen and David Hunsucker, we wanted to take the business to the next level, but we also wanted, in that way, that we could expose the products that we're putting out. We also wanted to make that positive impact, and we looked for the big media platform to do that. And I don't know if you guys get enough credit for this, but when you're talking about Second Amendment media out there, you guys are literally the largest pro-gun media platform that exists. And that's a big deal. So I was ecstatic to get the deal and to work with you guys and to become a sponsor. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a complete and total pleasure. And like I always try to tell people when I talk about Head Down Rifles, you guys make extraordinary products, and the people that actually put in the time to make this happen do an outstanding job. Now, I see right there, is that one of the new custom Glocks that Head Down is going to start putting out in production?
Yes. So we call this the Honeybee. I think that's what we're going to call it. So it's got, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that?
Yep.
It's got those honeycomb cutouts for the slide. This is a Glock 19, by the way, Gen 3. And, we've got a Viridian X5L light. I don't know if you guys see that. You can pick those up in the Infowars store, by the way. And, this is just a good modification to your carry gun or to your nightstand gun. I carry an M&P. Smith & Wesson M&P Shield is my everyday carry, but this is my kind of go-to gun for everything else. So I train with this gun and sits by my nightstand. If you got a Glock, which a lot of people do, this is a good way to just upgrade your gun. You're not going to have to spend an extra $1,500 on the upgrade. It's a good way to go. And
you guys also do the custom Kydex holsters as well, right?
Absolutely.
So people, all the people have to do is they have to write into you guys requests, and you guys pretty much already have molds of all the guns that are out there, and you guys simply just put that mold in there and then make that holster around it and send it out to the customer, right?
Absolutely. It's if you have something unique, we'll still try and find that product or that accessory and then mold it and still get it out to you, even if you have some kind of unique scenario. So just give us a call and we'll do everything we can to accommodate. And if we can't help you, we'll send you to another reputable place. But chances are we're going to be able to take care of you. That's what we're doing. We're taking care of customers, and a lot of them are Infowars listeners, and we're just happy to be doing it.
Well, Lee Queen texted me earlier and said that from here on out until the money bomb ends, he will be giving 5% of all purchases at Head Down at the website will come back to us to help support us to get us to the spot we need to be. Like we said, we're trying to reach $1 million, reach 400 million. So I thought that was awesome. That's the kind of teamwork we have here with Head Down and Infowars coming together, that they're willing to take aside profit that they're making to help us out again. It's amazing. You're not going to see that kind of relationship between people that often out there. And if you want to donate money and you're here listening right now, you're just now tuning in to the Infowars Money Bomb, make sure you call 888-253-3139, and that is the number to call in and donate. Also, you can go to the Infowars.com and click on the Money Bomb tab, and you can do that online as well. We have a lot of specials going on. Free shipping until this money bomb is over. 20% off of Survival Shield X2, 20% off of Super Male Vitality, 20% off of Brain Force, 15% off Deep Cleanse, 15% off Secret 12, and 15% off Oxy Powder. So there's a lot of great deals going on here in the Info War. It is amazing. Once again, if you're just now joining us, I have Ryan Smith of Armed Citizens United and Head Down Rifles. Now, what are some of the new products coming out by Head Down? I know Lee and David were talking about these bolt action rifles. What's going on with that?
Really, it kind of happened where, the demand of what we were doing with you guys, but also, hunting season and people like to get out when it's nice out, do a little more long range shooting. And we've been doing stuff like that, but, with our ARs, they're really accurate anyway. So, we've got some special people that are back there making, really precision long range guns. And in all honesty, that stuff really gets beyond where I'm at in my training. And it's just amazing how accurate some of those guns are. So any caliber that you want, any colors, fluted barrels, other accessories, really high quality optics that'll take you out beyond 1,000 yards. If you're into that and you're into the long range precision shooting, give us a call. We'll take care of you. And it's going to be more than you expected.
And like I said, these guns are friggin', I mean, they're phenomenal. When I came up, I flew up and saw you guys just a few weeks back. You guys sent me to this place in Georgia called Governor's, and we had an opportunity to go shoot some of the guns. I had never shot the head down Glock before. That was my first time. It was accurate as hell. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, it was light. It felt great in my hand, and it was an amazing firearm to use. But the one that really got me was the David's gun. I think it was the Mark 12. Was that it?
Yeah. And also, we were talking about that earlier because that, he's got a suppressor on that gun. And, once you start shooting suppressed, it's hard to go back. It's you don't have to worry about the noise. You can shoot without ear protection in most cases. So, he's obviously he's the owner. He's got some of the nicest stuff. We all try to get our hands on some of his guns that he's customized because he's got some beautiful stuff. And if he turns his back, sometimes we'll go ahead and take his guns for the weekend. I have one of his 308s right now that I just took.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first time I'd ever shot that gun before. I sat down at the table. We had it up on a bipod, and I was literally putting rounds down range. I mean, my group was tight. You saw that. I mean, that was amazing. And you don't get that a lot.
I got the photos. I got the photos for proof.
There's
for
proof,
all the
and there's some video. I'm not too bad of a shot. I'm sure. Tac Daddy and Schwell have more time down there at the Big 3 East Training Center. I don't get that kind of long range shooting time.
You're still coming to that though, aren't you?
Oh, of course. I've already talked to Alex about that, and that's one of the things. Let's go ahead and talk about that really quick. This is a big shooting event that's going to be coming up that I've already been cleared to go cover. It is basically an event where they bring in media. Am I correct? To kind of
Correct.
Go over the different weapons that are out by different manufacturers. They shoot them, and then they kind of write reviews about the weapons. And Head Down's going to be front and center as well with their products. Yeah, so it's kind of a unique event every year where CJ Dillard Johnson. If you don't know who he is, everybody look up Big 3 East or just Google his name. Check out his book Carnivore.
His book Carnivore. It's a unique event that they hold there where they invite media from both ends, whether it be print, the digital side or the video side. They bring some of the top people in, and then some of the top industry folks, and we get together and we figure out how we can better some of the products. We make sure everybody's covering it, so we get a lot of exposure. But it's also somewhat of a proving ground at the same time. So it's a great event. You get to figure out what's what in the industry at the top. And, my hat's off to CJ and the crew and Schwell for, putting that whole thing together. It's been running great. And, hey, we're excited to have you there. I'm sure we'll get some of the big bore stuff out and 50 cals, and maybe we'll be shooting from all kinds of places, maybe blowing up cars. We'll see what we can get into.
So, yeah, you guys that are listening to this right now and or watching, you're going to have that to look forward to. I guarantee you're going to get some good footage out of this. We're going to make a great video, and I'm super excited because I'm an American. Pretty much I pee red, white, and blue. My doctor said it was pancreatic cancer, but, hey, man, that's freedom as far as I'm concerned. Roger? So I love guns. I love shooting. So any opportunity I can get to go out and put rounds down range, I'm all about it. Now, we spoke to some callers earlier from different countries, such as Croatia, other places like that. They don't have a Second Amendment. Now, do you think that a lot of people in America take that freedom that we have to bear arms for granted?
Absolutely. We have those conversations a lot, obviously, around the shop. And, you think about just everyday stuff that we may go through, you realize when you just turn on the news just for a second and you see that what some of the other people are going through day to day, and there is no Second Amendment for them. They do not have the right of self-defense. And when you think about everyday life here without it, and then you think about everyday life internationally without it, it's just, we still do live in a great country. We have got to keep the Second Amendment intact, and we need to actually gain ground, not just keep it where it is. We need to have better scenarios for getting things like silencers and suppressors. It's simply a safety mechanism short-barreled rifles, things like this. We've got to open it up and have the rights, not just the right to have these things, but we need to have the tools that make
it starts with informing.
It's actually easier.
It starts with informing our children, I think. I think at a young age, we should introduce these kind of things. I think it's pretty ridiculous that at a young age you're talking about oral sex in school, purple penguins, taking kids on field trips to sex toy stores. I mean, that's out of control. What we should be talking about are these guns, because it's something that's part of our life. It's not going anywhere. I grew up learning to fear and respect these weapons. That's why when I have it out, as I do right here on my desk, I have my magazine out, and I have it sitting here unloaded before I hand it to somebody. I check the barrel, inspect it, make sure there's nothing there. That way I don't make a stupid mistake. I don't have an accidental discharge, or I don't believe an accidental discharge, a negligent discharge, and shoot myself or someone else. It all comes down to information. And that's something I wish they would start doing in schools, talking about these kind of things, showing information, showing what to do and what not to do. And then also that carrying over to the parents at home, having safe gun control, things like that, showing the safeties, how to do it, not to touch it when mom and dad aren't there, when to do it. And that when you grow up, you won't be a mindless person just grabbing what seems to be a toy that you've played on Call of Duty.
Yeah, you're touching on where a lot of what we're focusing on. It comes down to personal responsibility. I mean, at what age is it okay to give your child a steak knife? And it's a tough question. It's not, and maybe it's not the same for everybody. That has to be figured out with the family, right? But nobody talks about not giving people dangerous items or scenarios, even the right to do dangerous things. We're talking about not the right to just do dangerous things. This also is our defense. So just because a certain percentage of people are going to be irresponsible, you have, in nowhere in the discussion should it come up that we should take away that right. The discussion should only go towards diminishing those accidents and those bad scenarios. It should never go towards, hey, let's talk about taking that tool away, which also takes the right away. It's very strategic. They have the long game in mind. That's why they manipulate the media the way that they do. I love that Alex calls it weaponized media. That's the exact term that I've always called it. And it's just disgusting. It's disgusting. I mean, when you think about how many lives this saves, political correctness isn't going to save your life. It's just not. And I got into this industry. Half of the reason was political, and I saw it was a good business move. The other half was I nearly fell victim to a carjacking in downtown Atlanta. And if it wasn't for the Second Amendment, who knows how that would have played out. So this is so important. It affects us all the time. It affects all of us every day, whether we want to believe it or not. So
yeah, I mean, I feel comfortable knowing that I have this just as a safety precaution. I just recently took my CHL class this past Thursday here in Texas, and it's a great class, but at the same time, I still think that there should be a little bit more training involved with a lot of things. A lot of people when they take a weapon like this, they're left-handed. Say like me, I'm left-handed. They put the weapon here, they holster it, whether it be inside the belt, outside the belt, and a lot of people, they don't think about the different scenarios that a person might encounter. Say you're getting out of your car, you just went grocery shopping, you're using your dominant arm to pick up your groceries, and someone comes up, tries to jack you. What are you going to do? You're going to drop the groceries and try to go for it? No, what you need to learn how to do, and this is what people have to learn how to do, is to think outside the box. You have to learn to cycle through different scenarios in your mind so you can have that cat-like reflex that could happen. Like saying that you have a gun here and your hand's full over here. You've got to learn to grab from over here, pull your weapon across your chest, and go in with your non-dominant hand to be able to fire back to protect yourself, because you're not always going to people think that they can shoot and they can protect themselves if they go and they shoot at 5 yards, 7 yards, 15 yards at stationary targets that aren't shooting at them. Yeah, that's good and all.
In a controlled environment, yeah, exactly.
That's good and all to kind of get, comfortable, familiar with your firearm, how the trigger squeeze is, the poundage on it, how you can kind of feel that click. That's what it's for, to go to the range. But you still need to practice these kind of scenarios. And you guys got some other people that do a lot of those trainings like that. And I love that kind of stuff because it makes you think. Not necessarily, you don't have to really go out and do the actual training, but think about those kind of things. Think about that in your head. What's going to happen if I'm doing this? What's going to happen if this is happening and I'm in an active shooter scenario where I'm in a hallway at a school and there's a guy shooting at me and people are running? Well, what's going to happen? Everyone's going to be running down the middle of the hallway. So if you or someone with a CHL and you're trying to take out the shooter, defend yourself and other people, you're obviously not going to walk through the middle of the hallway because you're going to get run over. So what do you have to do? You need to lean your right shoulder or left shoulder, depending on where the hallway is, and use that wall as a way to push down and then get to the shooter. So these are the things people need to think about when they get this. This isn't a toy. This is something to be feared, something to be respected, at the same time to enjoy, have fun, and use to protect yourself.
Yeah, I think that whole conversation even, about training, and it goes right back to, if you think about, where that stems from, whether doing it or not, once you get that firearm. I mean, again, it goes back to personal responsibility. If you're being honest with yourself, just because you pick up a firearm and put it in your holster and you go to the range maybe a couple of times a year, because that's, in reality, most people don't really go and do real training. That I discovered that right away. And I don't mean that they don't shoot their gun. I mean they don't go and train. The further we push the envelope of training, the less accidents you'll actually have, because people are going to become more proficient with their firearm. And, it's looked down upon. A lot of people out that are anti-gun, not only are they anti-gun, they get scared of seeing some guys, running around in a training location with kit on, or rolling around with their rifle, getting in unique shooting positions that you might actually get in if you're in a real gunfight. Shooting. We have to push the envelope. We have to be responsible and take the training seriously. You don't just pick up the firearm. That's great. You did the first step. You're practicing your Second Amendment. It doesn't mean that we should restrict guns to people who don't get training either. But what it does mean is be responsible. Push the envelope a little bit. Challenge yourself to get better, because if there's ever a thing you should practice on, you should practice protecting yourself. I mean, we got to take this a little more serious. Well,
it's funny because a lot of people, they think that if you take karate, you're going to go out and start beating people up. People who take karate don't do that. They do that because as a last defense, if they need to protect themselves, they have that knowledge, that ability. They've worked through the different scenarios and trained on it. Now, just because I go out and I buy a Glock or an AR-15 or a Mossberg 500 doesn't mean that I'm going to go out on some shooting spree. But what I will do is I'm going to train hard, because a body in motion stays in motion. A body at rest stays at rest. And it's the same thing with your mind, your reflexes. You have to do that training so it becomes second nature. That way you have the ability to protect yourself, your family, your loved ones, and your property if the time comes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's, I can't believe that we don't take that. When I got into this industry, I can't tell you how many things shocked me about how serious this is taken. What are the numbers on this? It's just, there's so many things that we've got to work on. And at the very top of that list, in my opinion, is the people that are, practicing their Second Amendment. We love that. But let's get some training. Let's be proficient with our firearm. And if the day ever comes where, that door does swing open in the middle of the night, and you've got really bad people with bad intentions walking in your home, you survive, your loved ones survive that, and whatever happens to them happens to them.
All right, Ryan Smith, it has been a pleasure and an honor to have you on. My first time hosting the 3-hour show at the Money Bomb. So thank you for being out here. Shout out to Armed Citizens United, Head Down Rifles. We're going to go and have a quick break. We're going to go to a Money Bomb video that has David Knight in it. And when we be back, we'll talk to Schwell and Tack Daddy my next two guests. So let's go ahead and go to that break. Thank you.
In my arms. Yeah, that's Alex Jones, baby. All right. We're talking about
Infowars.com, which had its humble beginnings as a small website attached to Alex Jones's radio and Access TV shows, has become the leader in alternative news and information. And through the years, Alex has taken the financial support provided by listeners of the radio show, readers of the website, viewers of his DVD documentaries, and freedom lovers all over the world and reinvested that support back into the Infowars news operation. With your support, we've expanded our offices, built studios, hired reporters, video editors, writers, other support staff, and created the premier alternative news network. You made this possible with your support, and we sincerely thank you. The time has come to expand once again, and this time we want to literally launch Infowars.com into space. That's right, we're launching our own satellite broadcast signal to cover all of North America, and we need your help. But first, let us show you how it works. Shows are created live, like The Alex Jones Show, or pre-produced, like the Infowars Nightly News in HD. These shows are launched according to the atomic clock, and the HD signal goes through a closed caption data embedder, which sends a signal to a closed captioning service, and they begin the process of adding text to the screen. This is done in real time, and it is mandated by the FCC. The signal then goes to an MPEG transport streamer, which sends a signal to a satellite uplink facility. They blast the signal from the uplink satellite to the stationary satellite positioned to cover all of North America. The satellite is named SES-3 and run and maintained by the largest satellite distribution network, SES, which maintains a global satellite infrastructure to reach 99% of the planet's population. The satellite sends a signal back to Earth, where it is available to thousands of local television stations. It's also available for free to anyone who owns a C-band satellite dish pointed at 103 degrees west. Using a receiver, they can tune to 3,740 megahertz vertical and receive our broadcasts on Channel 11. There are over 2,200 TV stations in the United States, hundreds in Canada, and another 1,200 in Mexico that could potentially receive this free-to-air broadcast. Each one of these local stations is able to grab the satellite signal and broadcast it to millions of homes in North America, potentially to over 400 million people. There is an enormous cost in buying and maintaining the equipment, paying for the satellite bandwidth, and the cost of closed captioning service. The monthly service fees alone total nearly $40,000, which is why we're crowdsourcing InfoWarriors all over the world to help us reach our goal of $1 million, which will allow us to reach 400 million people. It's called Operation Money Bomb 2015. Imagine being able to reach 400 million people who are victims of mainstream media mind control. The ones who still believe in the left-right paradigm, enforced drugging, water fluoridation, and the plan of divide and conquer. Your support will allow us to help these people break free of their mental shackles, help bring about a peaceful revolution, and restore our republic. If you're able to help us financially reach our goal, then log on to Infowars.com/moneybomb and contribute what you can. But there's another way to help that will not cost you anything. Go to Infowars.com/moneybomb, download our informational packet, email it to your local television station, then follow up with a phone call to ask the station to carry the Alex Jones Show and the Infowars Nightly News. Everyone can join in, and we cannot prevail unless we have your help. So please, log on to Infowars.com/moneybomb today and help us make Operation Money Bomb 2015 a resounding success. Your support will help us reach 400 million people. I'm David Knight for Infowars.com. Thank you for watching Operation Money Bomb 2015 and for your support.
Your authorities and wisdom. So we have even right there.
What's his name?
Is a war. It's happening now. It will decide the fate of humanity. The time to choose sides has come. We are the resistance. We are the Infowar.
And roger that. This is Joe Biggs. We are back with a 2015 Money Bomb here at Infowars.com. And I am super, super stoked and excited because for once I can finally have these two guys on my show. I've been going on as a guest with Schwell and Tack Daddy on Tack Daddy Live on his YouTube channel. So how's it going, Tack Daddy and Schwell? How you guys doing tonight?
What's up, Joe? What's up, Schwell?
How's it going, guys?
So let's get into some Second Amendment stuff like we're used to. What are some big stories out there that have your eye right now?
I'll tell you what's got my eye is just the day-to-day continuous dodging of the mainstream media out there to cover the everyday person protecting themselves. We know statistically this happens hundreds of thousands of times in a year, yet you never really hear about it. Even when it's a specific case like a young lady home alone, maybe babysitting or something like that, who finds the house gun and protects the family. It doesn't even get coverage anymore. So we're constantly on Thursday nights. That's when our live show is. We're constantly looking at the latest stories that are going on. Specifically, right now, it's all about Crisco oil gun grease. There's a big thing in the gun world about whether or not this company's been using Crisco grease or whether it's actual gun grease. Take it for what it is, Joe.
So, Schwell, how's it going, man?
Joe, I can't complain. I'm hanging out with you online as usual, and we're talking Second Amendment.
Looking good, looking good. So give me some information about Big 3 East. That's who you're representing today. Tell me a little bit about what it is you guys are trying to accomplish.
Well, Big 3 East is our way of bringing manufacturers and content creators, your bloggers, your print, as well as your video content creators together in a more intimate environment where we can focus on one another and get information out to the masses as quickly as possible. And it's an ongoing thing. But this coming October, this will be our second event this year. We'll have quite a few manufacturers in demonstrating some of their newer products and some of their products that they've already had on the market. And what we do is we give them the opportunity to get that information out to folks much quicker with a hand-picked, very select few members of what we would call the media in the industry.
I mean, how does it feel right now knowing that you have the ability to go to a range and shoot your gun and to train to protect yourself and your family when you know that there's many other countries out there that just don't have that ability whatsoever? I mean, you look at the Charlie Hebdo attacks in France. These people are essentially disarmed. They don't have the ability to do it. Even the first responders didn't have anything. They had to wait on some special police to come in and actually have the guns to respond to that scene. I mean, this is something that we take for granted. I've said this a couple times in the past hour or so, but it's something that people really need to have hammered in home. You have that ability to protect yourself. Don't just go buy a gun. Train and learn to do it the right way.
And accept reality for what it is, Joe. I mean, you know, this whole thing for me with the Tack Daddy persona started with me wanting to protect myself and my wife and kids. You know, I'm 150 pounds. Guy wants to attack me in the parking lot. Okay, you know, we're going to throw down. 2 guys, 3 guys, guy with a knife, me with my wife and girls. Again, you have the ability to defend yourself in this country and using the tools of the day. Bad guys don't wake up and say, you know what? I think I'm probably going to go find a guy that's not going to fight me back. I'm going to go find the least resistant person I possibly can. That's what they're always looking for. They don't expect the unexpected. And I think as a responsible adult, it's up to us to defend ourselves and to not cower and say, I'm going to call the police and wait for them. If that's your choice, that's great. But don't attack us as, again, Second Amendment advocates. We're not nuts. We're all everyday guys. The other thing about the show, I'm sure you'll find, is that our guests and our hosts, we come from all walks of life. We're not a bunch of guys sitting around, you know, in full camo with shotguns waiting to shoot turkeys. That's not who we are. A lot of people.
Not Duck Dynasty.
Yeah, you got it. A lot of people think that's the gun owner in America, and it's far from it. There's a wide swath. The other thing that you mentioned, one of the great things about having a YouTube channel and the ability to put out media is, you know, I get to do really cool, fun stuff. And one of the things I recently did was I took 3 Brazilians who had never shot before, who were visiting a friend in America, and took them to the range, took them over to Gun World of South Florida, gave them a safety class, to say, hey, this is how this all works. And we went through it, and the guy went from shooting a 22 pistol, ended up shooting the AK and the head down rifle. And afterwards, again, you can check out my channel and watch the video. They had a totally different idea of what guns were and what gun culture in America was.
Well, I have a question. Both of you are fathers, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So how do you as a father, and you're both Second Amendment advocates, you both have weapons at home, what do you do to teach your children about firearms within the household? The fact that, when you're not there, don't touch them. I mean, what do you guys do as parents with your children to introduce that whole gun lifestyle into the family?
Well, you've got the youngest. Why don't you start that one up?
Well, for me, it's a little different than just being a gun owner. I'm not just a gun owner. I'm also a gunsmith. I am a part of the industry. So firearms are a huge part of my life. My wife also writes for a lot of publications out there as well. So she shoots with me as well. So it's a family affair. I sit down with my children and I show them what we're dealing with here. And I explain to them in my terms, under my terms, how dangerous they can be and why they should and should not handle them when I'm around or when I'm not around. Unless I am handing it to them or their mother is handing it to them, they should not be touching it. If they do see one and it is unattended, they are to leave the room, go to the nearest adult, and let them know that one of daddy's guns or a gun is somewhere it shouldn't be. My situation is a little different as well. I also have a picture in my house of a deceased aunt. Back in 1972, she was shot and killed by a gun that was in the hands of someone who shouldn't have had a gun. He was showing it off and it went off and she lost her life. This is someone that I never got to meet, someone they'll never get to meet. So I use that also as a teaching tool.
See, that's great. That's being responsible. And that's something that I keep telling people about, that we need to inform our children while they're young. So when they grow up, they learn to respect and fear and understand that kind of power and what it can do. So you're not out waving it around, because a lot of people see these rap videos or they see a lot of stuff going on and they think that it's just a toy or they're playing Call of Duty. And it's not like that. Like you said, someone can die, and it's something that you have to learn to treat the right way. So Tac Daddy, how do you introduce this Second Amendment lifestyle to your children?
Joe, I think it's important to also recognize kids are not stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
I started with mine when they were 8 and 10. That's when I first introduced the fact that dad carried a gun and dad had guns, and they now had the ability to, if they so chose, shoot guns. And fast forward 4 years, and one of them is very interested, and we actively shoot. She enjoys it as a
hobby. We lose Tac Daddy. All right. Well, he's frozen. All right. So, anyways, what he's talking about is how he has introduced, weapons into his household and showed him the right way to do stuff. And now his daughter knows the right way and, enjoys to shoot for fun, because you can do that as sport. So, Shwell, I keep seeing you guys going out there working on the Big 3 East Training Center, you and CJ Dillard. How's that coming along? And what are some of the things we can expect to see in October at the training exercise?
Tons of fun, a great environment, a range that's constantly expanding.
Now, this is in Florida, though, right, if I'm correct?
Yes, near Daytona Beach, Florida, 10 minutes from the airport, 15, 20 minutes from the beaches. So you come to Florida, you get to experience the Big 3 Training Center. You can come for classes. We do free classes every month with familiarization classes. We also offer CCW classes. Our range is able to do, short range as well as long distance shooting all the way out to 800 yards. Eventually, we'll get out to 1,000 yards. But it's always evolving. CJ's out there every day with the rest of the team from Big 3, and they're out there making improvements and adding things to the range every day. When I go out there on a weekly basis just to check in, there's always something new out there. It's hard to keep up with.
And I've only got to meet them all, all you guys once. But, I mean, you guys are all very, intelligent, very humble, down-to-earth people, very patient. A lot of those guys are ex-vets. and they take the time to show you the correct ways to do things. Like I said, they're very patient, and that's something that I think is a lot really easy for someone who's maybe scared and have never really used a firearm. Do you guys do beginners classes? Do you do family classes at all like that, to where you have a mother and a father along with a child and kind of show them how to do that as well?
Yes, we're always open to doing special classes. If you contact the Big 3 Training Center at big3east.com and you explain to us your situation, we'll be able to accommodate you and give you a private session if you want, or include you in one of the free classes that we do. Every other month it changes. 1 month will be familiarization, which you'll come in and we'll give you a basic rundown of firearms in general, how to safely operate those firearms. That next month will be a little bit more specific and offer our free carbine, AR, AK familiarization courses. That way we're switching it up a little bit. You can come for the first one 1 month, and then the second one the next month, and you're always learning. And those courses are done free monthly. We offer those types of courses. We also do other types of training courses where we take it up a notch, and different skill levels. You learn different things: concealed carry, tactical movement, long distance shooting, tactical carbine, and things like that. So we try and do it all. We try and cover it all.
All right. Well, if you're just now joining us, I am joined right now with Schwell of Big 3 East. We're trying to get Tac Daddy of Tac Daddy Live back on right now. I think we just had a Skype problem with him. Right now, if you want to donate to the Money Bomb, help us out. The number is 888-253-3139. And also, if you have questions, you want to talk about Second Amendment stuff for the next 15 minutes with myself and Schwell, the number to the studio is 512-646-1776. Now, I really just want to take calls about Second Amendment. Let's stay on topic. So if you have something to do about that. Also, for the remainder of the Money Bomb, we have free shipping for all of our products up here. 20% off of Survival Shield X2, 20% off of Super Male Vitality, 20% off Brain Force, and 15% off of Deep Cleanse, Secret 12, and Oxy Powder as well. This money is going to help us launch satellite fees that we need. We're trying to reach $1 million. We're halfway there right now, and we're still about halfway through with the broadcast. So we still have the ability and the opportunity to reach that goal, so we can reach 400 million people. Now, Schwell, you've been around guns for a long time, and since we've met, you've had the ability to kind of see a lot of the videos, and we keep doing these Tac Daddy interviews from these different shooting scenes. Do you think that gun violence has gotten worse, or do you think that it's because of social media and the fact that anybody has the opportunity to go out and just shoot a quick video, and it seems like that gun violence is getting out of control? Because when you talk to people on Twitter, like let's say, what's that guy's name? He's I can't even use the words without being vulgar. Piers Morgan. This guy treats it like Americans are just crazy gun-toting, American flag cape wearing guys who run around and shoot everything up and go crazy. I mean, what do you think is going on? Do you think it's the same, or do you think it's getting worse?
Actually, I believe it's decreasing. I believe statistics would back that up. But social media and having the ability to post that content out there so freely and so easily is why it's out there, as well as the ratings. Mainstream media is eating that stuff up and running with it. Whether they have all the facts or not, they're just throwing that information out there, and that's all we're seeing. Therefore, it's painting a picture as though the stuff is increasing.
Well, we're pretty much a political site, so let's get political really quick. Out of the presidential candidates, and this is for Schwell, and we are now joined again by Tac Daddy, who do you think, we'll say purely from a Second Amendment standpoint, who do you think out of the candidates right now has the ability to not hinder us any further, not have the ability to try to strip us of rights and or, take it to where you can only have a 3-round magazine or something like that? Who do you like out there right now? We'll go to you, Tac Daddy.
I'll jump in on this one. I watched a little bit of the debate last night, believe it or not. And as far as I saw, Huckabee was the only one mentioned the words Second Amendment. About the appointing of Supreme Court justices and now where's the barometer? What's the bar? Where do you draw the line? And he said you need to ask questions about what they believe about the first, what they believe about the second, et cetera. He was the only one the whole night. I might also add, if you look at Huckabee's head, he's the only one that like looks like one of the first 20 presidents on those old school books that you see. Like all the other people on the stage, they look nothing like old school presidents. Pretty funny. But he's the only one that mentioned it, and it's
okay. Well, hey, we're having a problem real quick again. The feed's going out. Schwell, what is your input? What do you think? Who do you think is going to be the best candidate thus far? I know it's still early in the entire the race, but at this point in time, who are you rolling for?
As far as the Second Amendment is concerned, I think Kevin is hitting the nail on the head. Huckabee's the only one out there voicing it, or at least talking about it the way we need him to. Ben Carson is a little too flip-floppy, and the rest of those, the folks on the bench, I don't have much confidence in a lot of them. But again, you said it is early, so this is not the time where I pay a whole lot of attention to, because 3 months from now, what's coming out of their mouths will change.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, give me your thoughts on Hillary Clinton. That's someone I have the utmost hatred for, but how do you feel about her right now?
Well, I did just order that T-shirt. I saw a guy at the Donald Trump thing the other day, and he had on this awesome T-shirt, Hillary for Prison 2016. I did order one of those. And
oh, man, now I've got to see when you get the shirt in, the Hillary for Prison 2016 Legalized Freedom. There you have it right now. It is actually on sale. Yesterday it was $19.95. Now it is $12.50. So that is an amazing price right there. So thank you for helping us out, getting that shirt. And you've definitely got to let me know how that turns out when you wear out in public, because I always get the craziest scenarios. I get positive feedback, and then I get these crazy brainwashed feminazis that really think they know what it is to be a feminist, and they're completely, bass backwards. They have no idea what it means to even be a feminist, because the Clinton Foundation takes money from Arab nations that treat women like dirt.
Well, you look like a gentleman. When I see you walking up, you don't seem to be too intimidating. When people see me, big, husky, this great beard of mine, I don't think I'm going to run into the same issues that you run into.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting, though. You have to take a picture and send that to me. Is Tack Daddy back on? Tack Daddy's back on. How do you feel about Hillary Clinton, Tack Daddy?
That she's probably going to end up being the nominee for the Democratic Party. I think that it's a shame that most people associate her with the word liar. I mean, the Benghazi thing, I don't think the average American understands what that whole situation was and what happened to some of our people. You add the email thing and, like, just the arrogance of the email thing. I don't think she belongs anywhere near politics anymore. Unfortunately, I think she's so ingrained in the system and so ingrained with the bigger picture of who's running things in the world that I think that most likely she's going to be the next president. Not by my choice, but realistically, I think she's got a lot of fodder with the distractions of Trump. Now Carly Fiorina is taking her on head on, so I think you're going to see the female versus female thing rise up. I don't know. I think she's despicable, and I think we do need change. I liked what Rubio had to say, to be honest with you.
Well, there's a lot of things like with Rubio, he was talking about how we need more security at airports, and I guess he hasn't had to fly in a long time. But I know I don't like being felt up every time I try to fly just from here to Dallas. I mean, but I understand. I mean, he's got some things that are appealing as well.
I've made a game of that, Joe. I enjoy the pat down. I lean towards them just a little bit at the right appropriate times, things like that. I enjoy the pat down.
Yeah, get some.
Exactly.
Hey, if you're going to make me feel uncomfortable,
if it's got to go down, it might as well go down on my terms. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. If you're going to make me feel uncomfortable, I'm going to make you feel super uncomfortable. I'm going to start groaning and like, oh, yeah. That guy's going to regret having that job.
Take just a small little 2-ounce container of lube and have it in your pocket. So are you sure there's nothing else in your pocket? And just hand that right there, right before the pat down. Good.
Go out, do some training, get real sweaty. Don't put any deodorant on, and then go out and hit the airport, take your flight. Go to TSA and then go into the bathroom and wash up, put some deodorant on so you don't have to kill everyone on the airplane with that horrible smell, but make those guys regret their job. Right. I mean,
hey, you mentioned earlier, I just want to throw this in because I know this is kind of the gun segment of the Infowars Money Bomb, and you know, it was mentioned earlier about the additional training and that type of thing. That's become one of my passions. A lot of guys like working on cars and going to drag races. I like getting guns, enjoying the mechanics of it, the aesthetics of it. The cooler side of the gun world is what I enjoy, but I really enjoy the training piece. And again, you're going to experience and get to hang out with some of these guys that we get to train with on a regular basis. Guys like Q down at the Big 3 Training Center, CJ there, and then they bring in other entities down there as well. It's imperative that you take your training to the next level. If you're going to do more than just put this in a safe and occasionally go to the range and shoot 100 yards. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But if you want to truly be able to be confident should something go bump in the night, I think it's imperative. So I encourage everybody, whether it's, again, Big 3 or anywhere around the country with a lot of the great people. Rob Pincus is someone with the Personal Defense Network that comes on our show quite a bit to talk about self-defense and training principles. We're big advocates of it. And the reason is starting from nothing, we keep progressing and we keep enjoying it. We keep having fun. And the other thing is, once again, it's not a bunch of loons down there rooting toot and shooting off their guns. This is as legit next level training that you can get, and I encourage everybody to do so.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I enjoy. That's something that I like. Like I said, real world training, it helps that gets the brain moving. It gives you an opportunity to sit down and think about different scenarios that are going to happen, because shooting a paper target isn't going to help you do anything. Just taking your mind and placing it outside of the box and putting yourself through things, not even having to put hands on a gun, but just thinking about different scenarios, how you will react, and the ideas that these people are going to have to give you, that's just going to help you out, that in itself. And like you said, if you're going to have it, go out and actually make something out of it. Do the training and do something. So we've got a couple more minutes. Schwell, I'm going to go to you real quick. Tell us how people can reach you, how they can follow you, and then we'll go on to Tac Daddy as well.
Well, big3east.com is our website. You can also look up Big 3 Training Center on Facebook. We're on most of the social media, Instagram, Blogger, as well as Twitter, Tumblr, and those things. I'm also on YouTube under Schwell11. And you can also find me at Armed Citizens United. I'm all over their website all the time, having communication and talking to folks, because the way I look at the Second Amendment and being American, I think the best way for us to keep the Second Amendment going is to be informed. And being informed is the best way to be Armed Citizens United.
All right, Tac Daddy, tell everybody how they can reach you and get a hold of your content.
Appreciate it. TacDaddyLife.com is that's where we kind of accumulate everything, whether it be written articles or mostly video, mostly the videos that we make. Kevin, all one word, the Tac Daddy, on YouTube, Instagram. I don't tumble, but I do tweet from time to time. I need to get bigger on Twitter. And then Instagram and Facebook page. We have a Facebook community for the Tac Daddy there. Just reached 1,000 likes on Facebook. So just getting into the Facebook thing. And Thursday nights, we are live every Thursday night since over 2 years ago now, with a guest, someone from the industry. And a lot of what we really like to do is, again, get those stories out there, show the videos of the people defending themselves in a responsible way. That's Thursday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern, and that's on the YouTube channel. And we also do stream it on TacDaddyLife.com.
Well, thank you guys. It's a pleasure to have you guys on my show for once, because you guys have been kind enough to have me on yours quite a few times. It's always been interesting and fun, to say the least, like you said, to talk about the actual real scenarios that happen to people, how they react responsibly, and then how the ones who don't. If you're just now joining us, this is the Infowars Money Bomb 2015. Coming up next will be Paul Joseph Watson. He's going to be taking in the next segment, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But before we go to that, if you want to call in and donate, 888-253-3139 is the number. And if you want to call in and talk to one of the next hosts, it's 512-646-1776. We're going to go to break, and we'll be back with our next guest.
I don't need to tell station owners, managers, and program directors that the American people are more upset and more politically awake than they've ever been. That's why Donald Trump, even if you love him or hate him, is so popular. because he's not reading off a teleprompter. He's not mincing words. And that's the reason that Infowars and my syndicated radio broadcast over the last 20 years has exponentially grown. We now reach, not just in the United States, but across the world, 20 million people at least every single week. And in 2015 and 2016, I want to double that number to 40 million people, promoting a message of basic liberty and freedom that made this republic, the United States of America, the model of a free and prosperous nation worldwide. I'm a libertarian broadcaster. I wear my bias to tell the truth and to promote free market entrepreneurial liberty on my sleeve. Let me share with you another key point. Infowars has a giant grassroots audience in every town and city in this nation, and they will loyally tune in to your broadcast or to your cable channel and will tell their neighborhoods, their coworkers, their friends and families about the broadcast. And so will we. We intend to promote channels that we're on a daily basis so we can push our giant internet AM and FM audience to your local TV station. In closing, let me tell you why I'm doing this. I already do 4 hours of radio a day. I already have internet online news. I already have websites that dominate not just alternative media, but mainstream media. Why would I want to then launch the next level and put this programming on satellite? It's because it's my responsibility. I must, like my forebears did, like your forebears did, reach out, trailblaze, expand, and defend this republic. I don't want to be, to quote Braveheart, many years from now, lying at home in my bed, wishing that I would have taken action against the unraveling of our freedoms. I'm making a stand. And I know that many station owners, managers, and program directors care about this country as well and want to shake up the dialogue and get people talking to create a grassroots movement of liberals and conservatives and libertarians to come together and celebrate America and what made us great again. That's why I'm really doing this, because it's my responsibility, but also because I got a file in there of over 100 cable channels that have contacted me the last few years saying, please put it on satellite, please close caption it, please package it so we can carry it. And just since we turned on the satellite a few weeks ago, we already have more than 10 affiliates that are carrying the show. 3 cable systems and 7 UHF VHF stations. One of them is on basic cable and is a decades-old news and information channel in Houston, and they're getting a great response.
Yes, the feedback that I hear is, of course, it's refreshing for the simple reason it is totally different. And again, as I stated, they get a perspective from Infowars that they do not get anywhere else. And for that, it's a very popular show on our network, or a very popular channel, I should say, because it's a 24-hour channel on our network. And it has a tremendous effect, because people can't get this type of information from any of our other 250, 300 channels that we carry on our network. Should be on everybody's cable television network.
Pick up Infowars today. Whether you carry it on the weekend for 2 hours or whether you carry our entire lineup, we welcome you to visit Infowars.com/affiliates or to call the phone number on the site, and one of our representatives from the Infowars News Center in Austin, Texas, will get back with you. Infowars Live, the 4-hour radio/TV show, is absolutely free to air, and so is Infowars Nightly News. You're even free to take excerpts of it for your own news programming. It's absolutely free to air. All we ask is that you not edit the pieces themselves, so you can take it in part or in whole, whatever you want. We just simply want to get the word out to the people and are very appreciative for you taking out the time to look at this information. Introducing Secret 12, the new Infowars Life Vitamin B12 formulation. Now, InfowarsLife.com is excited to announce that we can bring you our most bioactive, powerful form of B12 that has been developed with our exclusive perfected process. Secret 12 is a binary of nutramedical grade, bioavailable coenzyme forms of B12. Secure your revolutionary Secret 12 formula right now at InfowarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
The British are coming! The British are coming! Now the ride of Paul Revere set the nation on its ear, and the shot at Lexington heard round the world. When the British fired in the early dawn, the War of Independence had begun. The die was cast, the rebel flag unfurled, and on to Concord marched the foe to seize the arsenal there, you know, waking folks, searching all around, till our militia stopped them in their tracks. At the old North Bridge we turned them back and chased those redcoats back to Boston town. And the shot heard round the world was the start of the revolution. The Minutemen were ready on the move. Take your powder, take your gun, report to General Washington. Hurry men, there's not an hour to lose.
It happened that they had planned, if the British was ever to come over here, that they'd put a light up in this high church steeple. And Paul went down there to look. And sure enough, there was the light, burning brighter than day. Well, Paul, he jumped on his old horse and he lit out. He didn't know where he was going, but he knew he had to go somewhere. Oh, I wish you could have seen it. That old horse with his ears laid back and his nostrils wide open, sucking in wind like a jet engine, feet pounding on them cobblestones, striking off sparks. Paul holding on for dear life and hollering at the top of his lungs. He says, the British is coming, the British is coming. Get you a gun, we gonna have us a revolution. And them farmers come a-piling out of the hay like bees out of a beehive. Minutemen, they's called.
What's Minutemen?
Minutemen? There's fellas that had to be ready at a minute's notice. And when Paul comes screeching down the road that way, they grabbed their guns and hid out behind the weeds and walls and trees and everywhere. And when the British come a-prancing along, all dressed up in their red suits, they let them have it. It was a sight to see. And then it happened.
They fired the gun.
They fired the gun. And the shot was so loud, it was heard clear around the world.
Oh, get out.
It's fact. That's the way this country started.